Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Bundles, and today is another episode of Business Talks. I'm excited to come back to you all. I'm going to try some different things on this channel. One of the things that I want to try is doing more of like business conversations and questions that I have either had with my mentees or that I've had with other entrepreneurs, questions that I've gotten on my website at keepingupwithbrittany.com. I've already answered some of the questions, a lot of questions on this channel. I have over 1,000 videos. So making business content is not new for me, but I want to bring more content to the channel as far as business related content. And so I was like, what better way to do that than to talk about some of the questions and conversations that I have like behind the scenes. So with this video, you're not going to be able to see me, but you are going to be able to hear me. It's going to be like in a podcast type form. I'm going to do some voiceover videos because this is a great way for me to be able to kill two birds with one stone and get as much content as I possibly can out. Right now I'm actually sitting at the park. It's a nice day. My oldest kids had a half a day of school, so they're out and we're chilling, we're just relaxing. And while they're out having a good time, I'm like, let me go ahead and record this video. So today's video is going to talk about not having enough inventory for Black Friday. This question was from my website, keepingupwithbrittany.com. So while in my discovery mode, getting more information from the supporter that left the question, I found out that she watches my YouTube. She started her hair business. She does order from another hair company in bulk. Well, actually a few different hair companies in bulk. And she's concerned about Black Friday. This is her second year doing Black Friday. The first year, she did not get as many sales as she had hoped for. I think she said she got like 5 or 6, but at that point she was just starting off. So it was still really good. She just, wanted to make more money and have more sales. And so she set a goal and was not able to reach it, but that's okay. She stuck with her business, which I'm completely proud of, because there are so many entrepreneurs that don't. If they miss the mark, a lot of people put their business on hold or they stop. So the fact that she continued to overcome some of those obstacles and she's back at it again for a second year is amazing. So she's concerned right now about not having enough inventory. Last year, she had enough inventory, more than enough inventory, didn't sell out. And then this year, she's not buying as much inventory. And so she's worried about how she should promote Black Friday if she does get more sales than she is anticipating. So we're going to talk about that today. Before we get into the video, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed. Leave a comment and also turn your post notifications on, please. When you leave a comment, when you like the video, it takes literally less than 2 seconds, and it really helps push the content out further into the YouTube algorithm. I really want your help growing this channel. I can't do it myself. Although I can come with the content and I can, answer the questions, I still do need my supporters' assistance with getting the video out to more people. So the way that you can help is by just clicking the like button and leaving a comment, please. Even if the comment is just an emoji, okay? So the first thing that I want to talk about, if you are starting a hair business, or if you have a hair business and you're wanting to participate in Black Friday, which I think you should, I have an entire playlist on YouTube going over some business tips. And in that playlist, I go over multiple videos pertaining to Black Friday tips. I think Black Friday is a wonderful time to get your business on the map. I don't think that you should wait until the day of Black Friday to start marketing. I go over some of those reasons in my other videos. So check those videos out in my business playlist when you have a moment. But the first thing that I want to talk about is get a baseline idea and projection of your anticipated sales. Now, the reason that I say you want to have a baseline idea or projection is because that's going to give you the idea of how much inventory you want to have on hand. Now, there are some people that are confused or just flat out don't know how to get that projection. And I'm going to go over some ways that you can get that projection. So provided that your website, if you're using a website, provides analytics. What you can do is you can look at your prior years for Black Friday. So, for example, if I had last year, we'll take the conversation that I had with one of my supporters. So last year she had 6 sales for Black Friday. The year before that she wasn't in business. So she would look at the 6 sales that she got last year. She would also look at inquiries. So how many inquiries have you received? I would say within the last 3 months. Are you getting people that are reaching out asking for certain types of hair? Are you getting people reaching out asking for pricing questions, asking texture questions? Are you getting people interested in purchasing? Are they asking about your shipping time frame? Just any type of inquiries where you can gauge people's interests. And then you also want to look at your abandoned carts. Are people going to your website? Are they getting through the checkout process? Even if they don't complete the checkout process, have they initiated it? Also, look at your average order volume. So how many orders do you typically get per month? And when I ask this question to some people, people normally, say, hey, it's all over the place. And that may be true. You may have had 10 orders last month, and the month before that, 30 orders. Orders can vary, but you want to look at all of that to kind of get a baseline of how much you think you possibly will need. Okay, it's kind of like if you're picturing creating or putting on an event. Okay, let's say a birthday party for an example. If I'm planning a birthday party, what I want to do, let's say I'm planning a party for my cousin or something, I'm going to look at, and she has a party every year, how many people typically come to her party? How many people have inquired or asked about the party? How many people does she want to come to the party? What was the turnout for the last few years? Just different things like that, to kind of gauge how many people are going to be at this party. Of course, there's other factors that go into it. But just to give you an idea, so you want to first have a baseline idea and projection of your anticipated sales, and then you want to look at ordering based on that. Now, one thing that you don't want to do is stress yourself out about inventory when you are looking at promoting for Black Friday. The biggest thing, in my opinion, in regard to marketing for Black Friday is the marketing piece. If you get people that are interested in purchasing, as long as you have a good plan in place, you'll be okay. And I'm going to go over some of the plans and things like that, and some things that you can do to ensure that your business is quote unquote okay and does well during Black Friday. But the biggest part, like the main focus of yours, should be how are you going to promote the Black Friday sale. And again, you don't want to wait until the day of Black Friday, especially if you're a newer business. You want to make sure that you're building up some of that anticipation. You want to make sure that you're getting that interest ahead of time, because you're going to be up against a lot of different companies and sales. Okay, so Black Friday isn't just exclusive to the hair industry. It's not just exclusive to you. It's not just exclusive to your business and your friend's business, but it's something that a lot of businesses are partaking in. So you want to make sure that you are in your customers' mind, so that when they are thinking about, okay, what do I want to do for Black Friday? Where am I going shopping at? My friends have already started talking about what they're anticipating getting for Black Friday. A lot of companies are also doing pre-Black Friday sales. So you want to make sure that you are clear as to what you want to offer for Black Friday. Are you going to offer a pre-Black Friday sale? And you want to have all of that down pat, because the last thing that you want is to order all of this inventory and then have to sit on it. Now, is it the end of the world if you have inventory that you're sitting on? No, it's definitely not. You can save it if you don't sell it on Black Friday. The goal is to eventually sell it, right? So it's okay to sit on inventory, but there are a lot of people that don't like sitting on inventory, especially if you are working with 2 different vendors. One of the reasons is because, let's say that I ordered all of my hair for Black Friday from my number one, my primary vendor, my first vendor. Let's say, not a lot of people purchased and I set on the inventory, so I have a good amount left over. But let's say something happens to my primary vendor, so I go to my backup vendor. I always talk about my videos how it's important to have backup plans with your business. Vendors are no different. So if I go to my backup vendor and the hair is very, still good quality, they're very similar, but they're from different vendors, so they may have differences in them. And depending on the customers that you have, the clients that you have, some people are going to be able to tell the difference between if you have multiple bundles from different people or from different vendors, from different sources. And so you want to make sure that, for me, I send out hair that's from the same vendor. I don't like to mix and match my orders like that. Just because, like I said, even if I order Brazilian body wave from one vendor, and I can order another, Brazilian body wave from another vendor, they both are good quality, but it's going to look different. The hair is going to look different, because when you're looking at virgin hair, different companies process virgin hair differently. And I know you may be thinking, what? Virgin hair is unprocessed. I'm not talking about raw hair. I'm saying virgin hair. So if you get like a body wave, then it's normally steam processed. Okay. And so different companies do different things to achieve the different curl patterns that they're selling. And so, it is manipulated. And so if I have one company here and the body wave is steamed and looks like this, but then the other company looks another way, it can cause a lot of confusion, and it can turn people off from wanting to do business with you. It just can. It's kind of like if you go and you buy a box of donuts, and both donut places, but let's say you get a box of donuts from someplace, from the gas station. Let's just say that, the gas station, sometimes how they sell donuts, and they got one some pink donuts from one donut shop, and then they got some pink donuts from the other donut shop, and you open the box, and you could tell, it looks like these pink donuts look different than these taste a little slightly different than these, and you're like, all I wanted was the same box of donuts. So some people are just like that. And so you want to ensure that you're not ordering too much, and that you're also picking vendors that you're confident and comfortable with, because you really shouldn't have to use your backup vendor too often. You should keep a relationship with both, but you shouldn't have to use your backup vendor too often. So one reason, again, that you don't want to order too much is because you don't want to be in a position where you have a lot of inventory from your primary vendor. And let's say something happens in a few months with your primary vendor. Either they go out of business, or they change the quality of the hair and you no longer like it, or they sell out of the textures that you're needing and you need to go to your second vendor. You don't want to be left having to mix and match textures, Do want to consider the fact, and this is my second point, that you can look at putting yourself on a inventory plan. So what I coach some of my mentees to do when they don't have enough to purchase hair in bulk is I have them, because I created a whole video, and it's on YouTube too, going over how I pay myself as an entrepreneur, what percentage I put in my pocket, what percentage I put back in my business, what percentage I put in my savings. And if you are looking at building inventory, and you're drop shipping, or you're paying as you go right now, you have a few bundles on hand, but not really enough to have a substantial amount of inventory to promote on hand, inventory, to go out on campus, or, just let people know that you have hair on hand ready to sell. What you can do is you can take a percentage of each order and put that toward purchasing a bundle. Or when you go ahead and you place your order, even if it's a pay-as-you-go order, instead of taking off the profit, if you price your bundles correctly, you can go ahead and take some of that profit and purchase a bundle or two with each order, just so that you can slowly start building up the inventory. And so you're not purchasing a lot at once, if that makes sense. And then at that point, you can kind of get a gauge for how many orders you're typically getting, how many people are typically coming to your website with inquiries, which of your buyers are more serious buyers than maybe someone else that asks a lot of questions. And you don't want to ever count anyone out by saying they're not going to purchase, but I hope you know what I mean. There are certain people that will ask a question, and that they're going to purchase the hair. Like, they constantly purchase. They're loyal customers. They are frequent shoppers. You can tell on your website. They constantly visit your website. You can tell. And then there are certain people that are browsing around. They may ask you questions, but they're not really, they're not quote unquote serious buyers. So you want to keep all of that in mind, but that gives you a gauge, instead of having to go out and put all of your money toward purchasing in bulk, and then sitting on it. You can look into different plans that you can create for yourself, so that you can slowly build up the inventory that you're needing. Now, I also want to mention drop shipping. So if you don't know, I do offer drop shipping services through my hair business, badchickhair.com. If you're interested in drop shipping with me, that information is down below. You can also ask me any questions under this video, or you can go to my website and you can chat with me there. But I've been offering drop shipping for some years at this point. And drop shipping, pretty much is selling the product without having to have the product in stock. So you sell the hair and then I fulfill the hair for you, or whoever is your drop shipping company or vendor. You sell the hair, they go ahead and they fulfill it for you. That way you don't have to worry about gauging how much inventory you need to have on hand. You don't have to worry about if you have too much or if you have too little. You can have inventory on hand, and then you can also have drop shipping as your backup in case you don't have enough inventory to send out the orders, or in case you don't have enough inventory from your primary vendor. Let's say your primary vendor is sold out of a texture and you have 2 bundles, but your customer ordered 4. And instead of you ordering from your secondary vendor and mix and matching those bundles, you can go ahead and place an order through your drop shipping company, provided you already tested their quality, you're comfortable with their quality, you like their service and things like that. They're reliable, they're trustworthy. So once you've done your research, once you have built a relationship with that company, then you can go ahead and use the drop shipping vendor as your backup. Okay, so then you're always covered. And that's why I said in the beginning of the video that it's mainly important for you to market. Once you get people interested in what you're offering, once you get people that are confident and comfortable and trust the quality of your products, the quality of your customer service, the fact that you're going to be around, because some people will not purchase from you just because there's so many hair businesses, there's so many businesses period online that come up, that pop up, that people are promoting heavily, and then in a month or two they're gone. And there's so many horror stories with businesses where people have placed orders with newer businesses and that business has gone out of business and taken their money. So people are just really skeptical online. Doing business online is a skeptical place anyways. People aren't able to make personal face-to-face conversations. No one's looking you in your eyes when when they're placing an order. And even if they did, people are still people still aren't honest all the time. But I'm just saying, when you're dealing with a business online, there's a lot of uncertainty that may be present there. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind and not get discouraged when you start your business, or if you've been in business and you notice that you're not getting a whole lot of traffic or a whole lot of sales, because again, it takes time for people to be able to trust that you are legitimate. The next thing that I want to go over is you also can order as you go. So this is also known as the pre-order method. Pre-ordering is pretty similar to drop shipping. The biggest difference for me is that it works as well as it works, okay? But there's no agreement that this vendor has to have certain hair in stock, or that this vendor is going to even get back to you in a reasonable time, or even send you the hair in a reasonable time for you to be able to match and adhere to your website shipping policies. With drop shipping, you have an agreement with that vendor. So they know what you're doing. They have an agreement. You both have, the expectations set in place, which I think is very important in business. They know, hey, I'm working with this customer. They're going to place their orders through me. I'm going to send it out to either their customers or them. This is how I'm going to send the order out. You have all that information up front. When you're ordering as you go, you're placing an order through a website, or, however else you place your order, and you're hoping everything goes well. I mean, either way, you're hoping everything goes well. You have to trust whoever you're working with, whatever vendor, right? But there is no set agreement with the pre-order a lot of times. Now there are, there's people that can or have and that do go to the vendor that they're working with and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to place orders as I get them. And sometimes it works well, but I'm just saying that that's another option. You can also order as you go, or use the pre-order method if you are skeptical about how much inventory you have and how much inventory you don't. You know what I mean? And even like I said, if you order too much inventory, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of the world, because you still are going to sell it, hopefully. You don't want to just get out of business after Black Friday. You still want to keep the hair on hand and sell it. And there are a lot of orders that I missed out on in the beginning of my business because I didn't have hair on hand. And so that taught me that it's best to have hair on hand, and also be able to have a good relationship with my vendor and be able to set the right shipping expectations on my website, so that people that are ordering online, if I don't have the hair in because I've sold out in my, locally, or if I have sold out doing drop shipping orders, I can still place an order and get my hair delivered in a good enough time for me to adhere to the shipping expectations on my website. And then the last thing that I want to go over is, if you position everything correctly, it will work out. So when I'm talking about positioning, I mean your shipping time frames. Whenever you're having a sale, that is a good time to extend your shipping time frames, just because if you get a lot of orders, it still is going to take, it may take you longer than average to go to the post office, not before you even go to the post office, to be able to package all the hair up, stick all the labels on, and take it to the post office. It may not seem like a big job, but depending on the amount of orders you have and also the other tasks that you have to do, you don't want to put so much pressure on yourself where you are overextending yourself and then you end up missing the deadline. So for me, it's always better to be safe than sorry. I extend my shipping time frames to give me more cushion, because it's better for me to ship out the hair earlier, or for them to receive their hair earlier than later, in my opinion. If you place an order and you get your hair within 3 days, and my website says 5 to 7 business days, I've never had anyone complain and say, "What? You said I was going to get my hair in 5 days. I got it in 3." I've never had that. And and make sure you put estimate as well, estimated time frame. Also, if you position everything correctly as far as your on-hand expectations and how that order flow is going to go. So are you taking on-hand orders during sales? Are people able to come to you and say, "Hey, I want to purchase 3 bundles and I get the same Black Friday discount as the shoppers online are getting?" Because there are some people that will say you're not able to get if they're doing like the pre-order method, or if they're doing drop shipping, they'll put on their website that the Black Friday specials are online only, and that gives them more of a cushion too, to be able to have hair on hand for their on-hand orders, like local orders, and then also be able to not worry so much about selling completely out, having still some hair on hand, and being able to give an incentive, in a sense, to those that are ordering online, because online they're able to push back their shipping dates based on the sales, and just different things like that. So they're different. I hope that makes sense. Pretty much, there are certain companies that will give you an incentive or a Black Friday discount, or any discount for that matter, if you order online, but you don't get the same discount if you purchase, pick up in person. There may be some people that are nervous to do that, thinking that it will slow down their in-person sales. And ultimately, you want to get a rhythm for how your business works and what works best for you. So I would recommend trying different marketing options. In my experience, I've done that before, and people still purchase the standard rate when I was selling on hand, because they wanted the hair that day. And they came to me because they wanted the hair that day. And even if the hair was going to be $25 more than online, they still were willing to pay. A lot of times I still did offer some type of discount, but the higher discount was still online. So you just want to kind of play around with some different ways of marketing, and you want to make sure that you play around with some different ways of holding inventory as well. Look at drop shipping, look into having some hair on hand. Regardless of what you do, I strongly recommend you having some hair on hand. Not saying you have to have a whole lot, but having some hair on hand will definitely help capture some of those orders that you may have not